Alright, so like most gearheads, I spend a lot of time browsing Craigslist looking for a new project. You know, something to work on, something that may or may not run, may or may not look pretty. I may or may not even like it, but that's just how it goes. Now, despite having my 96 4Runner, which can always use some TLC, although right now it works great, and also having bought the $500 88 F250 about a month ago, I'm still itching for something on two wheels. Just before moving across the country, I regrettably sold my 85 BMW. It was only a $1,400 bike when I bought it. I got it running great. I just didn't think I could really haul three bikes across the country. I also sold the 91 Suzuki DR350. This was only a $500 bike. It didn't take me any actual money to get it started, to get it running. I actually just sat on the bike for like a year before I used it. It was really just a desert dirt bike, and it didn't really have a place on the East Coast. So what that left me with was my 2012 Harley-Davidson Sportster 1200, which it's a good bike. I didn't really have any big complaints. It's just it's the newest bike I've ever had. It's the most reliable bike I've ever had, and it's not really too much of a challenge. That and I've been storing it across the country at my buddy's house for the past 6 months. While laying around doing nothing, as usual, I hit up Craigslist, and well, the next thing I find is a 1980 Honda CB900c for $300. And I'm thinking, wow, not a whole lot of bikes come across this cheap. Definitely not an inline four Honda. And the way I see Craigslist is whatever the listing price is, I'm probably going to get it for less because most people list their item higher than what they expect to get back. As soon as I made contact with the buyer, I went and picked up a U-Haul trailer. Once I got there, I was able to only buy the bike for $250, which was great. Honestly, I would have bought it for that much sight unseen, because after only seeing a couple of photos, I knew that, hey, this is an inline 4 Honda. It's a 900. All the pieces are there. It's definitely worth $250. Really haven't touched the CB900 since I bought it. Just kind of plopped it in here. I actually upgraded to a bigger storage unit, but I haven't moved into it yet. I thought a 10 by 10 was really gonna work, but it's not. After bringing my bike home, well, not home, but into my storage unit, which will serve as my workshop for now, my first order of business was to take the battery out, take the tank off, and take the carbs out. Interestingly, the battery actually had some charge. Don't know exactly how much, but it might be actually good. The inside of the tank was pretty rusty, so I got to get that cleaned out. And of course, like anything else, the carbs are just going to be super gummed up and need a thorough cleaning. One thing I haven't mentioned is that before you really do anything with the bike, you definitely want to make sure the engine's going to work before you put any work into it, before you start throwing parts at it. The one way that we really get to figure out how well the engine's going to work, or if it's going to work at all, is by doing a compression test. So I'm going to get a compression tester out here at some point before I really take the carbs apart, before I even bother trying to clean the tank out, before I buy a new battery. I'm going to do a good compression test, record the cylinder compression for each individual cylinder, and compare that to whatever Honda says the compression should be. So let's say Honda says, I don't know, the compression should be 150 psi per cylinder. My compression needs to be around there within 10%, and each cylinder should be within 10%. So more on that once we get to the compression test, but for now I'm just going to take the carbs out. I'm going to take the tank out so I can take those home and they can be ready for me to work on when it comes time to work on them. Well, that does it for the first episode of Make It Run. This is on a 1980 Honda CB900 rat bike or something. Check back again soon for the next video in the series.